This is a PSA for all my business owners who might be hiring in video production companies to come and make some video content. We're going to look at copyright and what you need to know when getting into making video content. You may think that you don't need to know anything about copyright when you're hiring in a video production company, but it's always good to have just even a superficial knowledge of what to expect and what you should be looking out for as you're working with a company that's making your video content. Because, you know, not everyone's doing everything above board, so who knows? This should give you a good understanding of what copyright you have at the end of your project, what to expect your production company to cover and to look for, and, you know, everything in between. The first thing I will say is that it is highly likely that when you hire a video production company, the raw footage will never be owned by you. The copyright will always be owned by the video production company, unless you've reached a prior agreement and you've paid for it. It is incredibly unlikely and very rare that a video production company or a videographer is ever going to give out the copyright of their raw footage without being compensated for it. So it is something you can buy, it's something you can negotiate with the video production company quite often. I guess some places will have a clause where it's like never, no, but some, like for me, I am willing to sell it if it's for a reasonable price and for a good reason. The likelihood is that unless you have an in-house editor or you're planning on hiring an in-house editor, you won't get the most out of owning the copyright. It often isn't worth it, particularly if you're just doing a one-off video and you don't really plan on doing another one for several years. You won't get any value from it. The other thing that kind of tags onto the back of this is because you don't own the copyright, if say you've used one video company videographer to make some video content a year ago, say, and then you approach another place to do some new video content, but you want to use the footage from the first place, the likelihood is that you will need to license those clips that you want to use. It would be very unlikely for that first video company to just hand that out. And rightfully so, you're essentially taking their work and reusing it and repurposing it. They have the right to be compensated for it being in a new video, in a new deliverable. If you don't agree with that, then that's up to you. That's how I see it. So that would just be licensing, and again, that would take some negotiation. But this also ties into why you should like the creatives you work with and you should have a very good relationship with it, because it cuts out all of this faff and all of this mess. Because if you have a videographer or a video production company for life, they're just gonna have a bank of footage for you. They may charge for holding that data because it is significantly large files they'll be holding on to for you. But if you have them on a retainer and they're holding data, like, it's a win for you because you're not having to think about footage constantly or content constantly. You just have to think about what your strategy is and how you can use the footage you already have and what prominent things you want filming in the future. It's a win-win if you do it that way. The next thing you need to be wary of is music. So often we like to put music tracks under our videos. I put music tracks under all of my videos that I do generally. These just, you know, give some ambiance when you're just rambling like I do. But these tracks are licensed. So I have a subscription with a website that license music to video production companies, videographers to use in their productions, whether that is corporate productions or, you know, like film projects. Now, this is a great service. It means that I download it once and I can use it forever because, you know, I've subscribed, I've paid for that license. So it's in perpetuity. It means that I could use it on any project. I can use it on several projects, on several videos, and it can go up anywhere. That's how the license works. Depending on where you've got your video production company videographer from, they might not be above board with where they're using their music. I can't just go rip off a Beyonce track from YouTube and slap it on your product videos. You will get a strike, particularly on YouTube, if that was to happen. If you want that kind of track, you're gonna have to pay out a fortune to use it and to license that one track. Whilst a subscription service like I use has a range of tracks that are available for that kind of use. You can also find copyright-free music. Now, this is stuff that's been created for the purpose of free use. It can be tricky. Some of them will have a clause that says not for promotional purposes. This is because it's meant to be for free artistic license, essentially. So for your short films that have no budget, that kind of stuff, it's not meant to be used for anything like an advert. Also, a lot of it isn't really at the quality where you would want to be using it for your promotional materials. So there's also that. The last kind of area I will cover is graphics. So this is your images, any animations you do, any kind of, if you have like a little cute emoji type thing, all of that. You need to either have licensing for that or have designed it yourself, or, you know, like had fair compensation to use that in your video content if it's promotional video content. So for example, say you need an image for your video content, either make sure it's your own photo or go and license some stock imagery. Like, those sites are there for a reason. Yes, it might feel extortionate, but you're not going to get slapped with like a cease and desist or whatever we have here. So it's just better to be on the safe side, or just, you know, figure it out, do something else with your video. And this is the same with any of your animations or graphics that you're using. If it's not something you've created in-house, or your video production company has created in-house from your own design elements, should you be using it, or do you need to be licensing it? Every creative element within your video needs to be above board when it is your business promotional video content. You don't want to be risky in this area. So a lot of it your video production company will cover and will be hopefully working above board on anyway, such as myself getting tracks sorted, and there is no way in hell I would be using other people's content without a reason or without licensing prior to that. So yeah, it's not one to be risky on. If you don't have someone's permission to use their work and it's not within fair use / fair dealings, just don't use it. It's not worth the risk. And I think I've covered the main points. If there's anything else that you're confused about or want explanation on, drop me a comment with a question. Some of it, like fair dealings, fair use, I'm going to cover in the next video about when you are making your own video content in-house, copyright around that and what to look out for. But other than that, I think I've covered most of it. This was quite a dry video and I apologise for that, but I don't want you risking it. So there you go. Now stay safe out there and be right about your copyright.